Hey guys, welcome back to GuitarAnimal.com. This is Trent, and today we're going to go over the second part of the series on the parts of your guitar. Today we're looking at the Les Paul. I'll probably pull up a Stratocaster before the end of the video and go over some of the parts on it as well. First thing we're going to look at on this Les Paul is the jack location. The jack is actually where you plug your guitar in. It's right here. On most Les Pauls you're going to find it in this area, and that's where your guitar cable goes. So right in there and you're good to go. Pick guard. Obviously the pick guard is missing on this one, but I brought one to show you. That's what it looks like right there. A lot of guys will remove the pick guard on the Les Paul because they like the look or the feel of it, but it just goes right here, and it's basically there to either rest your fingers on or keep your pick from hitting the top of the guitar. So that's what the pick guard is on a Les Paul. Truss rod location and purpose. This is called the truss rod cover. And when you open that up, there's going to be, on a Les Paul, there'll be a nut there. And what that does is there's actually a long bolt that runs the entire length of the neck. It's inside the neck. And what it does is it counteracts the bow that the strings put in the neck. So when you have the strings pulling on the neck, it pulls up this way. And the truss rod allows you to adjust to pull it back down straight to eliminate too much forward bow. You have to be very cautious in adjusting that. I don't recommend that you do it yourself because the bolt is rather long, it's pretty small, and if you over tighten it and snap it, that's quite expensive to fix. You actually have to pull the fingerboard off of the guitar. It's not meant to come off, and so I don't recommend adjusting the truss rod. Take it to your local guitar shop and have them do your truss rod adjustments. That way you're not breaking anything. But that's what it is for. The truss rod is inside the neck to adjust the bow of the neck. These are strap buttons here on the Les Paul. They're located here and on the butt of the guitar. And those are basically to hold your strap. Hold your strap like this. They do make things called strap locks. And strap locks are something that's to lock. They're used to lock your strap on the guitar. Be careful using those. I never trust them. The only time I ever had a guitar fall off a strap was when I was using strap locks. One failed, the guitar neck goes towards the floor. Luckily I caught it, because if this end hits the floor, you'll more than likely snap the headstock off of it. So those are strap locks. Tremolo we're going to look at on another guitar, because obviously this guitar doesn't have a tremolo system on it. As far as binding goes, you've probably heard that term. This is binding. It's a plastic strip that's inlaid around the edge of this guitar. Some guitars have it on the back as well. This one also has it on the neck. The purpose really is twofold. One, it kind of looks cool. Two, if you hit the edge of the guitar on something, it tends to protect, it's not going to dent the wood, although it'll still probably put a ding in your finish. It's mostly there for aesthetics, but that's called binding. Again, this white stripe around the edge of the guitar. Headstock angle. This right here, Les Paul, they break here very easily. You can see how far back the headstock is angled. This is made out of mahogany. It's very soft wood, and the truss rod area that we were talking about earlier is actually carved out fairly deeply. So you really have about 1/4 of an inch thick piece of mahogany all the way around this area. It's under tension. All these strings are pulling up on it. The purpose of the angle is to make sure that the strings stay seated firmly in the nut and give you a nice transference of the vibration of the sound into the wood. But this breaks very easily. If you hit this end of the Les Paul, you're going to snap it off. It doesn't take much, so you have to be very careful with this end of the Les Paul. Also, you shouldn't carry this type of guitar in a gig bag because there's no support in this area, so you'll end up breaking the end of your guitar off. Very expensive fix, and once you, particularly on a natural finish, once it's broken and repaired, you're more than likely going to see the break, and it devalues the guitar. All right, bolt-on neck. We're going to look at that on the Strat in a minute. Finish care. This particular guitar is lacquer finished, and you do want to use a special type of cleaner on it or guitar polish. For Gibson's, Gibson makes one, and it tends to feed the finish, keep it from drying out. They do use plasticizers in all the new guitar finishes, so more than likely you're not going to get any checking or cracking on it. The old finishes tend to crack, and that's why they put plasticizer in them. It keeps the finish from drying completely. It's a little more flexible. Oiling the fingerboard. This is something that you want to do on raw wood fingerboards like rosewood. You wouldn't want to do this on a finished neck like a Fender neck or a maple neck because you can't get to the wood. It's actually finished. This rosewood is open wood. It's bare wood, and you can use a lemon oil or any of a variety of different fingerboard oils are available. And you do that with your strings off. Probably want to do it no more than once a year. It just keeps the finish or the fingerboard looking very dark and nice. You basically, I'll have a video on how to oil a fingerboard, but you just put the oil on, you let it soak in for a few minutes, wipe off the excess, do it when you're restringing, and you're good to go. Staying in tune, particularly on the Les Paul, these strings, the middle two strings, the G and the D string, they come over at a pretty sharp angle, and then they also go off to the sides. This can make your bends on your G string end up coming back out of tune. I like to put a little bit of graphite in there, nothing fancy, just take a pencil, and just a regular pencil, and just color a little bit into the nut slots on those two, and it'll give you some dry lubrication, allow it to move back and forth. If you're hearing chirping when you're tuning the strings, you're hearing little ping sounds, that's the string binding in the nuts. You can try the graphite, as I mentioned, or if that doesn't take care of it, you might need to take your guitar to a local guitar shop and have them maybe look at those nut slots and clean them up a little bit so they're not catching the string. That helps keep it in tune. A Stratocaster is a little bit easier, straight string pull. They don't have the back angle on them, but still they can bind. So you can try the same tricks. A little graphite in the nut and make sure that they're not binding when you're adjusting them. As far as type of guitar it's best for you, you really need to, when you're going to buy a guitar, go out and try a few. Try a Tele, a Strat, Les Paul, all these different types that are available. And after you've tried 10 or 12 of them, you'll probably gravitate towards one or another one that fits you best. You've also got sound to consider, so you might want to plug them in, listen to them, play a few things, and decide for yourself what's best for you. All right, and this is a Stratocaster guitar. The truss rod on this one is actually tucked down in here on the end. This is a vintage Strat, so it's down here at the body. Most times you do have to pull the pick guard or maybe even lift the neck up a little bit to adjust this type. On the newer Stratocasters, they've moved it to this end. There's not a cover, but it would be on this end of the guitar. Either way, it adjusts the same way that the Les Paul truss rod did. You right to tighten it, left to loosen it. Again, I don't recommend that you do that yourself because you can damage the neck, and basically a really costly repair. So have your luthier or your guitar shop do that for you. Pick guard, this is a big pick guard right here. Everything, all the controls are on this pick guard here. And again, the purpose is to keep you from scratching the top of the guitar. You lay your fingers on it, it just kind of protects the guitar a little bit. Other than that, that's basically it. We do have a bolt-on neck here. It's actually screws, 4 screws hold this neck on. It's just a different way of doing it. I don't really know if this is any better or worse than the way the Les Paul does it. It's easier to replace a neck on this, I can tell you that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for tuning in to GuitarAnimal.com.